Boker Tov to everybody. We're in Parashat Lech Lecha. You can see that Parasha Memdalet after two parashot, and we're not at the end of Parashat Lech Lecha, as we say every week. A lot of stuff on Midrash Rabbah Bereshit. And nowadays, today, we'll do the Brit Ben HaBetarim, the promise to Abraham, הן נינו נתת זרע. ויאמר אברהם הן נינו נתת זרע, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes him out and shows him the stars and tells him that your descendants will be like the stars. ויאמר אברהם הן נינו נתת זרע, I started from Yud because that's the beginning of the topic. אמר רב שמואל בר רב יצחק, המזל דוחקני ואומר לי Avraham and Atamolid. So Avraham says that he looks, as we know, according to Chazal, all the astrological stars showed Avraham that him or Sarah or both of them, there are different various midrashim, cannot give birth, and therefore he won't have a descendant. אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, הן כדבריך, אברהם לא מוליד, Avraham moliד, so you just trick the stars by changing you add to your ID one letter and that's it, and it's not the same person. איני אותו האיש, as הרמב"ם says in הלכות תשובה. אברהם מוליד, שרי אשתך לא תקרא שמה שרי, שרי לא תלד, שרה תלד. It's interesting because even though that the Midrash here brings both of them together, that by changing one letter you talk about a different personality and therefore the Mazal doesn't say anything, you know that as you can see from the Midrash, that the Midrash quotes just Sarai Ishtecha lo tikra shma Sarai, and Avram became Avraham later on. Okay, so it's not together. It's not together. There is a difference between the time in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him to switch his name and her name. But the Midrash understands that it's two different personalities. It doesn't explain what it means.
But Avram did have a son, Yishmael.
Avraham did?
Avram.
Sorry, I didn't get it. Avram
had a son.
Yishmael was born when he was still Avram.
Right. So the end at the end of the parasha, right? There by the Brit Milah, after the Brit Milah of Ishmael, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him to change his name, and Sarai is immediately, as we see, Sarai Ishtecha lo tikra shma Sarai. Okay, so we have to understand somehow why it's related to the Brit, why he kept on being called Avram, not Avraham, till a long time later.
I'm trying to understand the phrase Avram lo molid, because that's not true. Avram did have a son. Avram did.
Sure.
Now I understand that you're questioning. Okay, you have a question. Avram lo molid, it's not true. And the change of Sarai Ishtecha is really just after the giving birth of Ishmael? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's 13 years later.
13. Yeah. But after
that's a good question. I don't have the Tanakh.
No, it's after Avram's Brit Milah.
So that's a good question. I don't know what to answer.
That's a good question. Avram ein at moli, you will not give birth, but that's after Yishmael. But he won't give birth afterwards. But Abraham will.
But hey lona tata li Sarah means I don't have any children. So this was
any wife.
And then later he has a son Yishmael.
Yeah. Nichora, if it depends on him, as so HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him in your current situation, in your current name, you won't give birth. And it's not true. He does give birth by Ishmael. It's a question.
So eventually God says Yitzchak Yikarei L'cha Sarah, but Abraham doesn't know this yet.
Here it talks about the physical, yeah, Leida, not not a spiritual one. It's a question. I'm sure that Mefarshei Midrash here asks that. I'll tell you later. Okay, I'll look into it and tell you. You're right. It's a question. Okay. והנה דבר השם אליו לאמור לא ירשך זה כי אם אשר יצא ממאיך הוא ירשך. אוקיי? So רבי יודן ורב אליעזר ברב שם רבי יוסי בר זמרה. והנה דבר השם אליו, דבר השם אליו, דבר השם אליו, והנה דבר השם אליו. So we can understand that the word והנה לגמרי מיותר. אוקיי? What does it mean? And ודבר השם, we can always say דבר השם, but it's just superfluous. So the Midrash understands מלאך אחר מלאך, דיבור אחר דיבור. אני ושלושה מלאכים נגלים אליך ואומרים אליך, לוט, לוטה, לא ירית לאברהם. Okay, so change your מזל. You cannot give birth by being Avram. Okay, so the Midrash wants to show that the Hashem and all the Pamalia made the effort in order to speak with Avraham. Rabbi Huna ורבי אלעזר, בשם רבי יוסי ברב זמרה, two different other Amoraim in the same person. כתיב, והנה דבר השם אליו, והנה השם בא, ודיבור עמו. So they don't understand the word והנה as strange, as superfluous. And the דבר השם, they say that הקדוש ברוך הוא comes, no, the big thing wasn't the התגלות of הקדוש ברוך הוא, but the big thing is that immediately הקדוש ברוך הוא had something to say. So Abraham was interested not in the התגלות. Let's say at the beginning of Parashat Vayera, there is a big התגלות, and we make a lot of stuff out of it, that הקדוש ברוך הוא was מתגלה, and it's and קבלת אורחים is more important than קבלת פני השכינה. But here the content is what Abraham is interested in, and that's therefore והנה השם בא ודיבור עמו. השם doesn't interest us so much, but what he has to say. ויוצא אותו החוצה, רבי יהושע דה סכנין בשם רב לוי, וכי מחוץ לעולם, החוצה out of what? Was it a tent? Was he, what does it mean? So the pshat is ויוצא אותו החוצה to see the stars. וכי מחוץ לעולם הוציאו, שאמר הכתוב ויוצא אותו החוצה. So the question is not very understood, because as I said, there is nothing strange in the pasuk ויוצא אותו החוצה. But I think that usually in all Sefer Bereshit, in all the Torah, when you talk about technical problems, let's say that the window is not clear and he has to open the window, the Torah wouldn't bother writing it. And that's why I think the Midrash understands that Vaytzot HaChutza might be something more than that, more than getting out in order to see the stars. Ela ach v'leisho k'ishmaya, ach mata adamar, ad lo asa eretz v'chutzot. I think it's a pasuk in Yov. Showed him the whole, I don't know, the road of milk, all the stars, all the big system of the world, which is much bigger than Earth. And אמר רבי יהודה ברב שם רבי יוחנן, העלה אותו למעלה מכיפת הרקיע, הוא דאמר להבט נא השמיימה, אין הבטה אלא מלמעלה למטה. Okay, so Avraham was in the space. He was before Ilan Ramon. Avraham Avinu saw earth from up, from heaven, whatever it means. ואין הבטה אלא מלמעלה למטה. So we have the phrases like this by Adam HaRishon, that ראה מתחילת העולם ועד סופו, but that's the only time when the Midrash relates to it from the outside. Yes, ראה מתחילת העולם ועד סופו, as if Adam HaRishon saw all the world. I don't know how it's possible, but that's what the Midrash says. But here it's mamash from the outside. He is meaning that from the geder, from the current system of the world, you have no solution to your akarut, to Sarah's being akara. Just by getting out of the world, then you can which is symbolized by changing your name, but not here, not in this pasuk. If you get out of the world, then you can look from up down. Amar.
What does it mean out of the world? Does he mean the earth, or does he mean the universe?
Okay, so lichora it means the universe, because there is no real difference between Earth and I don't know, Saturn. Okay, according to
what's outside the universe, to look into the universe?
I have no idea.
Understand that? Did they understand that?
If you say that what's important here is the laws of physics, so you don't have to that he has taken him out. It's just explained to him in some way that there is. Let's say that he took him to the space, and then he was flying and saw that there is no gravity. So Avraham understands that all the laws he's used to are just a decision of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but I can decide otherwise. So then you can say just Earth and not universe. I don't know what to somehow he showed him that the laws of physics, the laws of on which the world is built are not relevant to you. That's what the Midrash wants to say. I'm not sure that he has taken him even a meter outside. Rabbanan Amrei, Nevi'at ve'enat astrologus. Okay, so here HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't physically take him, but explained to him, you are a different person. You are not a person belongs to astrology. You are Navi. How do I know that he is Navi? Shene'emar in Parashat Vayera, ve'ata hashev eshet ha'ish ki Navihu. That's will be the first time in the Mikra that the word Navi is mentioned. Okay, it's interesting because usually we think that a prophet is somebody that tells you the future, and the continuation of that pasuk in Perek Kaf is ve'ata hashev eshet ha'ish ki Navihu ve'itpalel ba'adcha v'chiyeh. So meaning that the role of a prophet, the first time it's mentioned in the Tanakh, is to daven, okay? V'itpalel ba'adcha v'chiyeh, not to forecast the future, okay? But here, the Midrash wants to compare between a Navi and an astrologician, and to say that by seeing the future, you can see something that he can't, because you're out of the laws. Bimei Yirmiyah, ביקשו ישראל לבוא לידי מידה זו ולא הניח להם הקדוש ברוך הוא. Okay? So at the day of Yirmiyah, probably after the Churban, when Am Yisrael is so frustrated, he wants to see if there is a way in which he is exempt from the Golus. Because, as we say many times, till the Churban, Am Yisrael thought that there is just one way. When you get into Eretz Yisrael from Egypt, from Yetziat Mitzrayim, there is just one way. Whatever you do, you stay here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can punish you, doesn't like you, can not like you, but he won't kick you out of Eretz Yisrael. It's just impossible. And therefore, we can see in many Sfarim that Am Yisrael said that it's what also the prophets of prophecies of getting out of Eretz Yisrael, of the destruction of the temple, are just impossible. And later on, when the Churban Bayit Rishon happened and Nebuchadnezzar came, they understood that the Churban and the Galut are just the current situation in which we cannot get out of. And therein they apply to Yirmiyah, and he tells them, El derech hagoyim al tilmedu, umeotot hashamayim al techatu. So you are, as we know, you are like the stars, you are like the soil, but you don't have any mazal or a clear future. Whatever you dream of, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can fulfill if you just do what he wants. And therefore, כבר אברהם אביכם ביקש לבוא לידי מידה זו, ולא הנחתי אותו. So here you see that the hope of Am Yisrael is based on Avraham. Here, Avraham, even by maybe he didn't pay attention that he's making it, like in the Akedah, he does sacrifice, and therefore we have the midah, the virtue of sacrificing. But in here, he just gives Am Yisrael the hope by being said by HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you are not a part of the laws of the world. You are something different. ואמר רבי לוי, עד דסנדלה ברגלך דריס הובה, וכל מי שהוא נתון למטה מהם הוא מתיירא מהם, אבל את שאת נתון מהם די שם. So I don't understand the phrase לגמרי. When the sandals are on your foot, then you can run over something, over kuva. But when you are up to it, you cannot do anything. Okay, you fly. You don't run over it. Therefore, till now you are run over by the laws of nature. But from now on, you are not a part of nature. You are going to be different. רבי יהודה בשם רב אליעזר אמר, שלושה דברים מבטלים גזירות רעות, ואלו הם. So we'll see what's a linkage to what we've said. תפילה וצדקה ותשובה. כן? תשובה ותפילה וצדקה, as we say in a different seder, in תפילת ראש השנה ויום כיפור, ושלושתם נאמרו בפסוק אחד בדברי ימים ב' ויקנאו עמי, אשר נקרא שמי עליהם, והתפללו, so clear, תפילה, ויבקשו פניי. So I would say ולבקש פני השם is a part of תפילה, but מדרש understand, לא, לבקש פניך הרי צדקה, כמו שנאמר, אני בצדק אחזה פניך. So the צדקה, according to the מדרש, we see that there are at least two psukim saying the same thing, is ראיית פני השם. Somehow, not here, I think the Tanya explains it in his Igrot, that by giving tzedakah, you're not just, it's not just a mitzvah of doing something good, but you can see directly, פני השם. וישובו מדרכם הרעה, זאת תשובה, ואחר כך ויסלח לחטאתם, ויכפה את ארצם. רב הונא ברב יוסף אומר, okay, so we know תפילה, תשובה וצדקה, but אף שינוי שם ומעשה טוב. So that's very similar to what we know from the Rambam in Hilchot Tshuva, based on the Gemara in Yoma, that שינוי השם, as I said many times, the Rambam in פרק ג' in Hilchot Tshuva, that by changing the name, הוא אומר כאילו איני אותו האיש, I'm a different person. So the Rambam there brings tefillah, brings tzedakah, brings tshuva, doesn't bring tefillah, but he brings שינוי השם and מעשים טובים, שינוי השם מאברהם, ולא יקרא עוד שמך אברהם. Okay, so here it's כאילו technical changing of the name, but while usually we understand the Rambam as avodah atzmit, as self changing, that I detach myself from the sins that I've done in the past, and I see myself as a new personality that is not no more related. But according to the Midrash here, it's just a change. When you change your name, ולא יקרא עוד שמך אברהם, that's enough. מעשה טוב מאנשי נינווה, שנאמר, וירא אלוקים את מעשיהם כשבו, pardon? ויש אומרים אף שינוי מקום שנאמר ויאמר השם אל אברהם לך לך. If you look at the Rambam there, you'll see that the Rambam writes גולה ממקומו. The Rambam writes 5 things that are מדרכי התשובה. Okay, so he gives צדקה וצועק כפי כוחו ומשנה שמו and משנה מקומו. The Rambam says גלות. So יש אומרים אף שינוי מקום שנאמר ויאמר השם אל אברהם לך לך. I think that the Rambam is not based on this midrash, but it can be based on the midrash because it has the same things. רב הונא אמר אף התענית, that the Rambam for sure doesn't write it, שנאמר יענך השם ביום צרה. כן? If you fast, that's one of דרכי התשובה. רב אמר מחסיה ורב חמה בר גוריון בשם רב אמר יפה תענית לחלום כאש בנעורת. So after חלום, if you make a fast, if after a bad dream, if you make a fast, that's very good. It's like a fire in a nesoret, in participles of wood, very good. אמר רבי יוסף, ובו ביום ואפילו בשבת, and we know that תענית חלום is very חזק, strong, that if somebody really has something based on the fact that needs תענית חלום, he does it ואפילו בשבת, then he has to מיטב, הוא צריך להחזיר יום, okay, that's, and to fast in a different days, there are הלכות, special הלכות in הלכות תענית. Okay, so we started from...
Okay.
We started from Avraham here, and his hope, and we talk about the Derechei Tshuva. So apparently, the Midrash understands that not only does Hashem tell him that I'll change your name and you'll be a different person, there is a ta'alich, part of Tshuva, and Avraham needs everything. So Vayomer Hashem el Avraham, Lech Lecha is one thing of the Tshuva, that he moves, he has a galus, and Avraham has the Shinui Hashem. Avraham has a lot of Maasim Tovim all over the parasha, all over Parshat Vayera. Ta'anit, I don't know, but Tfilah, maybe, as I said before, the first pasuk that is mentioned on the role of the prophet, maybe that's a part of Avraham in life, okay? So that he does tshuva, that he does tefillah, that he moves, that he does maasim tovim. So according to here, not only does HaKadosh Baruch Hu change his role in life, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu changes it because he makes a process of tshuva. That's a chidush, because if you look on Parashat Vayera, Lech Lecha, you don't see at all that Avraham made any tshuva. You just see a lot of mikrim, events that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him to go to Eretz Israel, then told him to go to Mitzrayim, then told him to do like this, to do that, and then he complained that he doesn't have a son. But here, the Midrash looks at the macro, and I think that the Midrash finds out that Avraham makes himself a part of a ta'alich of tshuva. As we know, according to the Rambam, according to the Gemara and Yoma, and different places, there are machloket whether Avraham was Baal Tshuva at the age of 3, at the age of 40, at the age of 52, but it's clear that Avraham was Baal Tshuva, and the Rambam, famous Rambam in Ilchot Avodah Zarah, Perek Aleph, Halacha Gimel, the Rambam said that not only his father was Oved Avodah Zarah, but Avraham himself, Mehu Oved Imahem, he was a part of the worshippers of Avodah Zarah, and Avraham made somehow he became a Baal Tshuva. So he's the first Baal Tshuva, the explicit one, because the Midrash says that Cain was a Baal Tshuva, Adam HaRishon was Baal Tshuva. Okay. ויאמר אליו, אני השם אשר הוצאתיך מאור כסדים. כן? אני השם himself, כאילו, took you out of the furnace of אור כסדים. רב אליעזר בן יעקב ורבונו, אליעזר בן יעקב אמר, מיכאל ירד והצילו מכבשן האש. So he thinks that the story was that just as שליח, או הקדוש ברוך הוא, מיכאל saved אברהם. ורבונן אמרי הקדוש ברוך הוא הצילו. So רבנן has לכאורה a raya from the explicit pasuk, הדאו דכתיב, אני השם אשר הוצאתיך מאור כסדים. I am, אני ולא מלאך. מתי ירד מיכאל? בחנניה, מישאל ועזריה. So just, the Midrash is very clear. I just want to mention that as you know, Avraham has been tried 10 ניסיונות. We know it from Pirkei Avot, but there is a machloket over which exactly the nisyonos were. And it's easy for us to say that the first nisyon was the move from Haran to Eretz Israel. But the Midrash brings the story of Ur Kasdim that we don't know about. We just know, Ani Hashem Asher Tzadicha Me'ur Kasdim might be that I've taken you out of Ur Kasdim, no nisayon, just a movement from Ur Kasdim. But the Midrash locates the furnace of Ur Kasdim as the first nisayon. And it's not explicit in the Pasuk, it's not even mentioned in the Pasuk, it's just a nisayon. And the Midrash apparently has a lot of linkages between the explicit story of Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah in Daniel Perek Bet. There it's mamash explicitly written that all the story, and the Midrash understands that Avraham Avinu and Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah somehow equalized, okay, or somehow equal. And here you can see it in Matai Yarad Michael. So the Midrash takes for granted that there are two stories of furnaces. One in Avraham, which is a Midrash invention, and the second in the Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, which is written explicitly. And we'll see, if we have time, that mamash, if you look here, some of them are megale on them, and the Gemara in Psochim, when the Gemara talks about the 3 averot and when should Adam die and not violate any mitzvah, and when so the Gemara uses Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah and Avraham both as one story. Okay. ויאמר השם אלוקים במה אדע כי במה אדע. רב חייא ברבי חנינא אמר, לא כקורא תגר, אלא אמר לו, באיזה זכות? So Avraham doesn't complain, doesn't, so הקדוש ברוך הוא tells him, אמר לו, בכפרות שאני נותן לפניך. The whole קורבנות that you are now in פרק ט"ו are going to make, זה ברית בין הבתרים, that's why somehow will be מכפר for and your זכות שיהיה לך זרע. ויאמר אליו, כחלי עגלה משולשת, ועז משולשת, ועיל משולש, ותור וגוזל. So הראה לו 3 מיני פרים, 3 מיני סירים, 3 מיני אלים. 3 מיני פרים. So now there is a lot of symbols with the קורבנות of ברית בין הבתרים. 3 מיני פרים, we know that there are 3, we have a lot of parim throughout the Korban Tamid and Musafim and Shabbat and Chagim, but there are 3 explicit and unique parim. Par Yom Kippurim, a par that comes from the mammon of the Kohen himself, that he pays for it, and his soimech is yadav twice, one for himself, one for Chav HaKohanim. Ufar Abba al Kol HaMitzvot. At the beginning of Parashat Vayikra, we know that if Am Yisrael Kulo was sinned together because of a misleading of the Sanhedrin, they ordered us to eat some food, and the food was taref, chas v'shalom. So then we bring Par Abba al Kol HaMitzvot and Egla Arufa. There are 3 parim, unique parim. Egla Arufa, we can understand it's chatat, it's not mukrav in Beit HaMikdash, just in Har HaZeitim. Par Abba al Kol HaMitzvot, it encompasses all the mitzvot, even though that it's a real, a normal par. And Par Yom Kippurim might be that it encompasses all the avirot somehow, like the sirim. Gimel minei sirim. So we have sirei regalim, sirei rashei chodashim, v'sir chatat, sira shel yachid. Okay, so the difference is mentioned in the Mishnah in Shvuot, that some of them are mechaprim al tumat mikdash v'kodashav, some of them are not. It's a big machloket in the Mishnah in Shavuot. V'gimel minei eilim. When do we bring a eil? So asham vadai, okay, ve'asham taloi. If I eat something that I'm not sure which is chelev or shuman, so I bring asham taloi till I can clarify it, and then I bring chatat. Ve'kivsa shel yachid. V'tor ve'gozal. So tor is a male, and גוזל, בר יונה. ויקח לו את כל אלה, רשב"י ורבנן. רשב"י אומר, כל הכפרות הראה לו, והעשירית היפה לא הראה לו. So, he saw all the animals, but he didn't see all the menachot. The menachot is a different issue, and Avraham can see a miniature of all the korbanot in Parashat Vayikra. Okay, before he'll bring his own korban at the end of Parashat Vayera, Zakita, he can see a minimizing of all the korbanot, but the menachot from the tzomeach is a different issue. He didn't see. רבונון אמרי, אף עשירית היפה הראה לו, נאמר כאן ויקח כל אלה, ונאמר להלן בויקרא והבאת את המנחה אשר יעשה מאלה להשם. So by this גזירה שווה, רבונון understands that Abraham saw even the tzomech. So he had relation not only to the animals, but to the plants, to the menachot. ואת הציפור לא בטל. So according to this midrash, the tzipor doesn't symbolize Am Israel or something like this. הקדוש ברוך הוא showed him the laws of korbanot, that's it. הראה לו הקדוש ברוך הוא שמבדילים בעולת העוף, ואין מבדילים בחטאת העוף. So one of the rules is יבדיל, when he catches the bird, so in עולת העוף he makes a distinction, and בחטאת העוף it's written explicitly לא יבדיל. So הקדוש ברוך הוא just tells Abraham, you won't be here when the Mikdash is here, when the Mishkan is here. He won't see the rules of Korbanot, so I'll teach you Sefer Vayikra and Torat Kohanim. That's according to this Midrash. And apparently the metaphysical virtue of the Korbanot is so big that Abraham had to learn about it. That's his zchut. That's according to the Yudalet. Now the Midrash flies up and takes it into the metaphysical history of the world. דבר אחר, Abraham doesn't see here just Sefer Vayikra, he sees all the history that would happen. And we know that there are a lot of midrashim like this. I think we've mentioned it. In Chalom Yaakov, when at the beginning of Parashat Vayetze, so here he sees Minei Malachi Elohim Olim V'Yordim Bo. So the midrash there would use it again, and the Ramban, famous Ramban there brings a midrash that he showed him the whole Malchuyot, the whole kingdom. We know that according to Sefer Daniel, all the history of the Jewish people is based on 4 kingdoms. It's not very clear who they are, but the main shita is that the first one is Babylon, the second is Paras Umadai, the third is Greek, and the fourth is Rome. And the Christianity, it's according to most of the Mefarshim. So he sees here, Chakli Egla Meshuleshet. So we know from the Mikra that there are 3 main Melachim. Actually, we know that there are 4 Melachim. Nebuchadnezzar, the famous one, 45 years. Evil Merodach, 3 years. And Belshazzar 2 and some years, so 70 years. That's a Gemara in Megillah, saying that we have a Masoret, Evil Merodach 23 years. So we have a Masoret that Evil Merodach was 23 years, even that he is mentioned very shortly in Melachim Bet. In Melachim Bet, we see another Melech of Babylon, Merodach Baladan ben Baladan, with Chizkiyahu. When Chizkiyahu is sick, so he sends a delegation to visit him, and then Chizkiyahu shows him all the palace and all the vessels, and then Yeshayahu calls Chizkiyahu and asks him, who did you show the vessels to? And he was very proud. Melech Bavel shalach elai. He sent me a delegation. So then Yeshayahu tells him one day Melech Bavel would come and take all the vessels to his country. We see it at the end of Sefer Melachim, but somehow it was pre-Babylon kingdom. I don't know why, but according to the Midrash, they don't consider Berodach Baladan ben Baladan as the first king of Babel. Just
he didn't roll over Israel.
It didn't roll over
Israel. Yehuda was an independent country, and Babel was an
good. Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar conquered Yerushalayim, and
you're right. That's apparently even though that it's not Sheyimida Shlosha Melachim, it means over Am Yisrael, right? Right, that's good answer. So Nebuchadnezzar revealed Merodach and Belshazzar, and we know that Belshazzar dies, and then the kingdom goes to מדי. אז משולשת, זו מדי, שהייתה מעמידה 3 מלכים, כורש, דריווש, אחשוורוש. We know that according to historians, מלכות פרס ומדי had at least 18 kings, but according to Chazal, there are 4. There are 2 Daryavesh Amadi and Daryavesh Parsi. Here the Midrash says just 1, but maybe because Daryavesh the first, your answer is not enough, because they're all over Am Yisrael. I think because Daryavesh Amadi was less than a year, and Koresh and Achashverosh and Ayel Meshulash, Zo Yavan. When we get into closer to Hanukkah, so maybe we'll bring the Maharal about the Ayil and Yavan. Rab Lezer ורבי יוחנן, רב לזר אמר, כל הרוחות כבשו בני יוון, רוח מזרחית לא כבשו. So as we know, Alexander conquered all the world, but he came to India and then he stopped. So maybe that's what the Midrash says, רוח מזרחית לא כבשו. אמר Rabbi Yochanan, and we'll finish because the time is going to finish in 3 minutes. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, והכתיב בספר דניאל, there is a paradigm of Greeks, and we see the Ayil, מנגח, he gores with his horns, ימה וצפונה ונגבה, וכל החיות, לא יעמדו לפניו ואין מציל מידו, ועשה רצונו והגדיל. According to Chazal, in those psukim in Daniel Chet, that's what we talk about the coming Greek kingdom that Daniel sees. He's in Persia and he sees that it's close to the Greeks are coming. But as you can say from the pasuk, the lo amar mizrachit, because the Greeks never conquered the east. V'tor v'gozal, even the Tor is so small, according to the Midrash, it's a symbol of Malchut Edom. Tor hu ela shegazlan hu. As we know, Malchut Edom, according to Chazal, Chazal didn't like them at all, and they understood that everything they have is taken from different Malchut. That's what we know about all the philosophy, all the names of the gods are just Greek. They just use different names for the same mythology of the Greeks. And according to Chazal, Chazal said that it's Malchut she'en la ikar, she'en la shem, she'en la safa. Everything in Malchut Edom is just taken from others. And that's why Chazal didn't like use as a word gozal, not as a small bird, but as a gazlan to describe Edom. We'll finish here till before it stops on our heads. Okay, שבוע טוב.
Very good.
שבוע טוב. תודה.